that's just not really the case.
Right.
And so I think in some ways, as people have been critical of things like affirmative action or other opportunities to create more equitable playing field for students that have economic disadvantage or who have had racial disadvantage, and to see that as unfair, they're not unpacking what happens on the other end too, which is sometimes families taking advantage of their wealth and really total advantage and getting an additional advantage on top of it by access to college. So in some ways, I think it will help us all be clearer about what's really going on sometimes, and for all of us to make sure that we have the type of rigorous processes that prevent that from happening. So it wasn't that I was glad that it happened, but I thought, it's an exposure to some elements that happen at some institutions, and lets people know that the playing field that we think is so equal may not be.
Yeah, and just kind of gives another case why affirmative action is so badly needed in so many levels.
Absolutely. And, Oberlin, because of its historic mission, has always been a place of access and opportunity. And it's because I believe that the institution has always felt that it has a role in changing society by creating that access and opportunity. It's one of the things that drew me to Oberlin, right? Because we change society by the types of students that choose us that might not otherwise be at another institution. And so I'm hoping that it will spur other institutions to take that part of their mission really seriously. Because if we're going to solve things like income inequality, if we're going to solve things like healthcare challenges or the issues around immigration debate, having different types of people in the room are going to be the only way that we come to the best solutions. And the notion that it can be the same folks that have always been there thinking about these issues that come up with better solutions, I think is pretty much folly.
Oh, no, definitely. So some of our listeners may have never heard of Oberlin College. Yeah. Can you describe to our listeners what Oberlin College is all about?
Yes, Oberlin. So Oberlin is a dynamic, traditional liberal arts college that's committed to access and opportunity. We're about 35 minutes from Cleveland. And we have both a conservatory, which is a school dedicated to music. And so we have jazz and classical music and students who see themselves in the musical careers. And then we have this dynamic liberal arts and sciences department, our college with 32 majors, real deep commitment to the sciences, to undergraduate research, to study abroad. And so I would say we're the best of both worlds because we have this conservatory and this liberal arts college. And then we have this think tank that is this kind of small little town that's really bucolic and like a wonderful place to go to college, and yet we're 35 minutes from this urban center that is Cleveland, where students can take all of the interesting work that they've been doing and apply it to real world challenges. So I just think it's the best of both worlds, and if anyone's thinking about a liberal arts college in particular, I think that Oberlin is the best college in the country. I say it every time I get up at every admissions event. And I always say at the end, if you don't believe that that's the case, then you simply haven't gotten enough information. Because if you have the information that I have, then you'll know that it's the best college in the country.
That's right. So could you give some evidence to our listeners? You always say, like a lot of parents who go visit it say, so what's the return on investment? Right. What is it, the life after Oberlin? Because I've been very blessed to work with a lot of Oberlin alums. So that's how I was introduced. Like, wow, you are that critical thinker. You're thinking outside the box. You're not creating limits. You are breaking them.
Right. Well, one thing I would say to families is just, Google Oberlin graduates and you'll just see all of these people that you never expected. From the most dynamic people on Broadway and theater, like, the folks, the woman who created The Lion King and that's right.
You were 61st Grammy, right? You have an alumni.
That's right. That's right. And we had all of these winners of Grammys. So we have all sorts of folks in the musical and theater and performing arts world. But then we have these really wonderful folks who maybe are unassuming, but just they have the majority of people in the National Academy of Sciences graduated from Oberlin. So sometimes people think that liberal arts colleges can't produce these rigorous scientists.
Now, you actually have neuroscience as a major.
Absolutely. And so, sometimes people can think liberal arts colleges don't have that. And yet the National Academy of Sciences, for a liberal arts college like Oberlin, to have so many people in that arena just says something about our science programs. So I think that's an important part. I think if you think about our creative writing program, how many people we've produced from that area. So I think if you look at Oberlin, you'll see all of these interesting sort of academic disciplines reflected in the work of our alumni. And then I think you'll see them doing really interesting work. So the chair of our board, who's a graduate of Oberlin, started out in Goldman Sachs in the business world, and then ultimately ends up working on these really interesting critical issues in international areas around water insecurity and food and access opportunities. So taking these really tight business skills and trying to apply them to these real world problems, that to me is an Oberlin graduate at its core.
Yeah, no. And you also do these summer internship programs, right? That are paid, which is a little bit unheard of.
So we this is just new for us. We started these career communities, and our goal is to scale them up so that every student gets a paid internship. But the notion here is to take this experience that you've had at Oberlin, that will fund your experience for an internship so you can get some real world experience on challenges that you think are important and really prepare you for the next step when your life after Oberlin, when you're looking at career opportunities, you'll have a leg up because you worked in the field that's important to you.
And these are worldwide. A lot of people assume just in Cleveland. No. Your career center works very hard.
Right. So we have students going all over the country and all over the world to do these internships, and I'm really excited about it. It's a new initiative that we began this year, and my goal is to make sure that we can fund all of them for all of our students over the course of my time at Oberlin.
Great. So I'm going to throw some rapid fire questions right back at you since you're so good at them. Favorite superhero?
Wonder Woman.
Good choice. Favorite candy?
Oh God, Snickers.
Favorite villain?
Darth Vader.
Which show would you binge watch?
What I'm watching right now is Umbrella Academy.
Oh, everyone's talking to me about that.
My one of my kids said we should watch this together. And so
how old are your kids now?
They're 11.
Oh, great age.
So one of them was in fact, I have to watch episode 7 and 8 while I'm traveling. So when I get back over the weekend, we can watch 9 together. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay, I know you have a plane to catch, so I'm going to get you back to your binging. So if more people want to learn about Oberlin, what's the best way? Social media, website information?
I think I would go to the website first and then go to the admissions office and inquire. And then once you inquire, then we'll start sending you materials about Oberlin. So if you go and just put your information in as an inquiry about our institution, then you'll start getting our admissions materials. And then, of course, the only way to really know Oberlin is to visit.
That's right.
I just think that's the way to know Oberlin. And so just get on the website and go to our visit page for our admissions office, and they'll give you a great tour and give you an opportunity to either stay overnight or go to classes. And I think that once you visit Oberlin, you will discover that that's the place to go to college.
Great. And if they come from an underrepresented background, they could contact your admissions office about that diversity flying, which is when should they ask their junior year or beginning senior year?
We do 3 a year, a multicultural visit program, 3 or 4 of them a year. We do juniors and seniors, but mostly seniors. So they should just inquire about the multicultural visit program, and hopefully they'll get an opportunity to come and visit Oberlin.
Great. Carmen, thank you so much for being part of this podcast and everything you're doing in Oberlin and more.
Excellent. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to College for All. We hope you enjoyed our podcast and learned that college is an opportunity you can reach. Use this information and you can find out even more on our website at college4all.com. And you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at college4allamv. Thank you for listening, and until our next podcast, don't forget, nothing is impossible unless you think it is impossible.